Rosa Khutor. It is considered to be one of the most popular, beautiful and expensive resorts in the south of Russia. I would probably agree with popularity and beauty, but not with exorbitant prices. In winter, when the ski season is in full swing, and Rosa is still a ski resort in the first place, having a rest here is really not cheap at all. But if you are not a skier and you do not dream of snow in the summer, then rest in the green season will bring you much more joy and visual impressions. And all this will be for much less money. So that you understand how big the difference in the cost of winter and summer holidays is, I will give you an example of the 28th Hotel, a good middle-class one, in which we have already had the honor to stay several times during the summer season. So, in the summer, the cost of living in a double room of this hotel will be about 2,000 rubles per day, while in winter exactly the same room will cost an average of 8,000 rubles, depending on the month and day of the week. As you can see, the difference is very noticeable. In addition, there are much more people here in winter and almost all hotels are packed to capacity, while in summer most hotels are half empty and there are no problems with the availability of seats. Meanwhile, Rosa Khutor in summer and early autumn is not inferior in winter beauty. Here you will find walking routes among the wild forest with crystal clear mountain air, waterfalls, extreme entertainment, and cable cars that will take you to a height of more than 2,000 meters, where you can retire, merge with nature and forever capture in your memory the panoramas of the Caucasus Mountains and fantastic sunsets. I'll tell you a little about the resort and how everything works here. Rosa Khutor is a resort located on the banks of the Mzymta River and mountain slopes in the Adler district of Greater Sochi. The resort is located at the foot of the main Caucasian ridge, 4 kilometers from the village of Esto, Sadok and 40 kilometers from Adler. In general, all this beauty, including roads, tunnels, hotels, Canadians and other infrastructure, was built for the Winter Olympics in Sochi, held in the 2014 year, and then became publicly available and every year more and more popular with ordinary tourists. Rosa Khutor is the extreme point in the list of Krasnopoliansk resorts. First you pass the village of Krasnaya Polyana, then Esto, Sadok and finally stay in Rosa Khutor, where you will be taken by a comfortable train swallow or bus. So you came out and found yourself on the first floor of a resort called Rosa Dolina, so to speak. By the way, it is located at an altitude of 560 meters above the level of the beloved Black Sea. There are many cafes, restaurants, shops and hotels here, which I would not call budget. And in general, if you came here for nature and views, and even as it should be with a large camera, then I would choose a place to spend the night not here, but a little higher. But we must pay tribute to the fact that among all this in the luxury feast there is the very oasis with economy in which you will return, even living upstairs, and his name is the Crossroads. This is the only chain grocery store in the entire resort. And in the evenings, it resembles a kind of shrine, which adherents of dosherak and inexpensive beer come from everywhere. Also here is the beloved and irreplaceable McDonald's, the reasons for the attraction of the masses to which for me still remain a mystery. By the way, while I was filming all this beauty for you, not being an experienced pilot in mountain conditions and not calculating that the mountain forest is not horizontal, but a little vertical, I lulled my drone into the arms of some forest giant. The fall was very unfortunate, and not even because one of the evils later seemed broken, but because, after falling, one of the motors continued to work on the drone, which happens very rarely with these things when falling. They usually turn off immediately. And the ambush is that when a drone has at least one engine running, it is very difficult to determine its exact location on the map, since it is programmatically in flight. In general, I will not load you with these technical details, but it took me more than an hour to climb the vertical forest in search of Carlson. And this, I'll tell you, is such fitness that you can't come up with it on purpose. I finally found the drone when I was almost desperate and was going to leave empty-handed, saying goodbye to it forever. And I found it, as it seemed to me, not so much by cards as by intuition and retrograde Mercury. Take drones with sensors, guys, they are somehow more reliable, at least they can see the leaves. We go further and climb up to the conditional second floor of Rosa Khutor, namely the Rosa Plateau, or as it is more often called the Olympic Village, located at an altitude of 1,170 meters. This is where most budget hotels hide, and the views from here are much nicer and more scenic than below. And another important factor is that if you book a hotel here, then you are given a card for an unlimited number of trips by cable car along the route Rosa Dolina, Rosa Plateau, so it will be convenient to drive to the intersection. And considering that one descent along this route itself costs almost 1,000 rubles per person, you will beat off the cost of one night at the hotel in almost one trip. That's the arithmetic. It was here, in the Olympic Village, that athletes from all over the world lived when the Sochi Olympics were held. Flags on hotels and streets still remind of the resort's sporting past. From the Rose Plateau, you can climb to the maximum height for a cable car, 2,320 meters, called Rose Peak, and enjoy, perhaps, the best views in the resort. Do you want even higher? Then it will be possible to climb 2,509 meters on foot on a stone pillar. This will be the highest point on Rosa Khutor. I also highly recommend looking at the waterfalls of Menzilika. This fascinating route with numerous large and small waterfalls is located in a very beautiful forest. Mountains are always unpredictable, that's probably why we love them. And if our first day on the Rose was like this, then the second turned out like this. Ugh, someone will say, it's cold, damp, it's raining, the weather is not at all walking. But just look at this wonderful mountain. They seem to be covered with cotton candy or poplar fluff. It is on such days, despite the rain and not quite travel blogger weather, that the mountains are as atmospheric as possible and reveal themselves to you in some mysterious, I would even say magical form. And to be honest, we got much more visual impressions from this cloudy day than the day before from a clear and sunny one. In this video, I do not focus on hotels and cafes, although I must say that they are quite good here. However, all this is secondary and it is not necessary to come here for this. You need to go here for the sake of gorgeous panoramas and mountains that go beyond the horizon, for the sake of peace of mind and soul, to finally see the stars in the sky on a cool dark night, which we practically do not see in cities. Take a deep breath of the purest mountain air and realize that right now you are happy. And you don't need anything for this happiness, except the beauty surrounding you from all sides. I have been to the Rose 4 times already and I will definitely come again. The place is really very atmospheric. And in general, mountains are the best psychologist who does not ask about anything, but at the same time, as an old friend, understands you perfectly. I wish each of my viewers to visit here and see all this splendor with their own eyes. And I'm already looking for new, interesting and no less beautiful places for you. Dimitri was with you, see you later.